Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back again to the Dream League Season 13. We're taking a look at our second game here of the first series of the day in Group D. We got some wonderful action coming on up. Evil Geniuses facing off against Navi. I'm joined by the one, the only, Mr. Draskell Dota 2. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, doing good. Ready to see if Navi are going to bring some more gamey heroes to the second game.
10
More
seconds
gamey,
remaining.
not
Yeah, I mean,
like
just
anti-game.
well, that's kind of what Omni Knight
5
and
seconds
Warlock and
remaining.
Rubik are, right? They're
Navi's
anti-game.
turn
Right.
You
to
try to go
go.
on them, and they say no, you can't do that.
Yeah. And otherwise, you're just kind of chilling there and farming and trying not to throw the game away, which
Evil
unfortunately
geniuses
they
turn
ran
to
into some
ban.
issues there. Um, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to watch. I think that so far they ban out the Slark, they ban out the Rubik. So the couple heroes that they played themselves, they're like, we want to make sure we really don't draft these guys this time. So they take them out of the pool right at the start. Sounds
I
good.
mean, they are strong heroes, you know. That's the
Yeah.
thing. It's not necessarily about what a
10
hero can do
seconds remaining.
individually. It's more
Navi's
about
turn
how
to
they built their
ban.
lineup. I think that was the big problem.
Right.
And it's not even that those types of lineups can't win. It's just a whole margin of error thing that we were talking about. It's like you make a couple of mistakes with that type of lineup, and
Evil
you
geniuses
don't have a
turn to
plan B.
ban.
Right.
You just don't. So now they're even going to go as far as take out the Omni to make doubly sure they can't do that again. Um, but yeah, I'm looking for a different approach this game from Navi. I kind of liked what EG were doing in the previous game just because it does allow them to like their mid game is
Navi's
really
turn to pick.
strong. Their laning phase is kind of okay-ish,
Evil
but it
geniuses
doesn't really
turn to
matter
pick.
if you lose like one lane. But if you lose both side lanes, it can be a problem. In that game, we had the early rotation to the outpost. I think it was bottom where they killed Crystallize. They got that outpost. They made the plays that they needed to make to ensure they didn't just get like completely trounced in both side lanes. So they kind of knew what their lineup weaknesses were and they played around it. So really cool stuff for
10
them.
seconds
I
remaining.
like to see
Evil
already also
geniuses
this
turn
this
to
nice
ban.
response at the start from Navi.
Navi's
Mr.
turn to
Andrei
pick.
Chepenko, Mr. Mag himself, going in as the coach for Navi and deciding, yeah, we need somebody that can actually move around the map and make some stuff happen. I've been liking Tiny a lot as position 4. I feel like it's super strong. It's still pretty freaking good with IO too, if you want to get that, but that's obviously banned out in the first phase. But then the response of Lich Elder
10
Titan from
seconds
EG.
remaining.
That's pretty cool. Some defensive options in there, a little bit
5
of counter
seconds remaining.
initiation. I like it.
It seems to me that they already have an idea of what they want to play because it's not really even as far as pub games go. Don't see a lot of Elder Titan. Lich is a bit more prevalent, so I think that this is something that they had already put a
Navi's
deal of thought
turn to
into
ban.
before they decided to just pick it up. But like you mentioned, Navi opening with this is like a completely different style of opener.
Right.
Like it's a 180 from what they did in the last game, which I like. I like teams that are willing to just say, you know what, we kind of maybe picked the lineup that played a little bit too slowly and relied on various specific timings in order to win. And it's just
10 seconds
you have to
remaining.
have confidence in your own game plan, no matter
Right.
what kind of team you are, and I respect that.
5
But
seconds
sometimes it's
remaining.
just too hard to play, and I think that's kind of what they ran into in game one. So this time around, they're giving themselves a lot more wiggle room. You know, like the tiny
Evil
opening, it's a very
geniuses
flexible
turn
hero.
to
It can
ban.
be a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. It can literally play like everything,
Hmm.
so they can just adjust it to whatever they feel like they need.
Well,
And then the disruptor is great pick. It's like the try to defend this tower, I dare you hero, so we can get our one extra freebie.
right. Yeah, that's cool. I like that a lot as well. And just about like that mentality of drafting thing you
10
talk about. Like
seconds
I
remaining.
often feel like you could say, they're doing this thing and so we really
5
like it
seconds
because it's just
remaining.
like different than what it is. But to me what you touched on is that it's like so
Navi's
radically
turn
different
to
from what they
ban.
did before that it's like we just got to get our motor kick started. We kind of became complacent in there in that last game. Let's come out swinging and try and run in some good old CIS Dota at them. So I'm curious to see how that works out. OD banned out now as well as the Legion Commander. So a lot of the heroes from the last game not going to be in this one, as they're feeling each other out pretty quickly. I think with
10
the Lich
seconds
Elder Titan
remaining.
though, this looks like some pretty scary team fight already.
5 seconds
They
remaining.
definitely do a lot of damage. That's like between the Chain Frost, the ET Spirit or Splitters, stuff like that. It's not really They are, I would say, a bit more defensively postured supports. Like ET really likes being able to sit in the back in the mid game and just get his, 3 or 4 man stomp off.
Right.
And Lich is the same. He wants to wait it out so he can get a better chain frost. He's going to throw his armor onto whatever hero's getting, tunnel visioned, and then he just throws his spells, and that's pretty much all he does. But they just do an enormous amount of damage if you let them do what they want to do. So that's a little bit scary for Navi, but they're kind of in the same boat. These heroes, they also do a lot. You throw down the storm, you got the tiny combo. I would say right now that Navi actually have the advantage in regards to catch. Tiny is a really good blink dagger holder if they decide to go that route, and he's very good at moving around the map. A lot of people fell into this, let's build Mask of Madness, let's do the max tree thing when they were playing him as a core, and you would just go mass status resistance, just beat people to death. But Tiny's 310 movement speed without a tree. He's fast.
Jeez.
So now you can do like the phase blink stuff that I've been seeing a lot in pubs. Like the high ranked mid players do that when they feel like something needs to happen on the map. You can't just let it stay status quo. So we'll see what approach Navi take with the Tiny. Kind of curious to see what their take is on it.
Mm-hmm.
And EG going with the mag. Artesia's been playing this hero a ton, so is Abed. So we know both of them can field it. This hero is just, in my opinion, it is appalling to me that this hero has below a 50% win rate. I don't even know how it's possible, Lyrical. I don't. This hero is so unbelievably good.
Yeah. Dude, the double strength on Empower stuff, just it feels like every time you get touched, you die. I was playing a game right before we got started casting. I was playing Earth Spirit and I had a mag on my team, and I like rolling bouldered through the wave, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna get the kick, I'm gonna steal it away from my core like a good support. And he hit it one time, and the whole thing was just gone. It's like it just creeps evaporate around him, and then afterwards he just lays all that damage into your face. And then on top of that, you got an ET that's maybe up close and personal, lowering down base armor. Guess what? That's gonna destroy people. It's gonna be really, really bad.
Yeah, I have this way of thinking about heroes and items in the game where I like stuff to fit into a box. And what I mean by that is it has a role, it has something that it's good at, and has stuff that it's bad at. Magnus has BKB piercing AoE disable. Yeah. He has a farm accelerant. He has a mobility skill, and he has another nuke. So I'm looking at it and I'm going, what is this hero bad at?
Right.
What box does he not fit in? Because to me, it seems like all of them. But we'll see how Navi want to deal with it. It seems right now that they think it's mag mid. Viper, one of the notoriously strong laners. If I'm being completely honest, I'm not really a huge fan of the Viper because Magnus does not care if he loses his lane. He just doesn't. He's going to empower himself. He's going to walk to the jungle. He's going to hit his creeps. He's going to be A-okay. And Viper is by nature a very slow hero. So what I mean by that is he walks around at like I think it's like 275, 280 movement speed. Mm-hmm. And he just like hits stuff. That's all he wants to do. And a lot of the time what happens on this hero in a game is if you're playing from ahead, it's going to feel awesome because no one can walk into you. You're like this really beefy guy, speaking of beefy guys, and you're just going to gack on everyone and it's going to feel awesome. But as soon as you start losing team fights, you're the guy that dies because you can't run.
Right.
Everyone else can run away because they're fast or they have an escape mechanism or whatever. But Viper doesn't get to leave. Viper is the one, in the horror movies, the first guy that dies, that's Viper.
It's really sad. Yeah, he just gets left behind there. Maybe the Underlord's going to be able to help him out in that regard, just get everybody out of the damn fight, which I do like Underlord as a pick. I think that he's like broken, or not broken. He's really strong in the way that everybody knows that he's really strong, I think. And he's kind of just like that. All right, we need an offlaner who's big and tanky and can do some stuff. Let's get an Underlord. That's fine. To me, I actually really like the EG Brewmaster pick. I think that that's super cool against Viper. Because as you mentioned, it's a hero that can't really escape that much, but also you don't tend to build like a BKB on him that early more often than not when I've seen. It's like a lot of other either team-oriented, like big get tanky items or whatever. So if Brew just lifts him in the fight, he's not really going to be doing all that much. So that's kind of cool. I like that answer.
I also enjoy it because it's a hero that you have to commit a lot to if you really want to kill it. So a lot of safe laners in this situation would kind of just fall over, tiny combo, static storm and a pit, all that kind of stuff. Brewmaster is one of the few that might potentially be able to live through it, regardless of whether or not it's a 1 or a 3, because I believe that Ramses and Arteezy both also play this hero. But I do like the Underlord pick for another reason as
5
well.
seconds remaining.
It's triple melee on
Mm,
EG. And Pit of Malice is so good against mass melee teams because they want to just sit there and swing. They don't want to have to reposition around Pit, right? So sometimes you'll be lucky enough to get like 2, maybe even 3 Pit routes before the person's going to be able to get out of it. And that's just so much DPS time. It's a lot of time you just get to hit them. You know, they can be stuck in the static storm. They can
10
get avid,
seconds remaining.
right.
glimpsed back into the pit. Like there's so many nice little plays that you
5
can make around
seconds
it.
remaining.
It's a really nice combo, definitely.
Evil
And
geniuses
of
turn to
course,
pick.
as you need some extra damage dealing heroes, they take the Drow Ranger. Last for Navi, another hero that Crystallize is very comfortable on. Um, Feels like it also fits with what they needed. They just need some more of that raw damage, and I think that Drow still seems to me just very strong in general.
Yeah, she is.
It's crazy.
Yeah, she does a lot of damage.
10 seconds
Multi shot is still very, very powerful. And a lot of people,
5
and this is
seconds
one of the main
remaining.
selling points for me that I feel like people forget is her silence is so long.
Yeah,
Like it's a 6-second silence without the talent. That is ridiculously long.
and it's
And
a
you can
big
kill
range.
basically any hero in that time.
Yeah. It's nuts. I think that it's sort of the same way that Ricky works as well, where it's one of the more the least thought about piece of her kit unless you play her a lot, or you play against her a lot, which is kind of everybody now because everybody's picking this damn hero in every game that I've played of Dota, in forever. But nonetheless, EG one last pick for themselves. You talked about checking boxes. Magnus has all of them. Is there any other box that they need out of? I guess it could go into almost any lane now. Their last pick.
I would say their high ground kind of sucks.
Okay.
That's what I would say for EG's lineup. They don't really have someone who's really confident about going and hitting some buildings. You can solve that in other ways. You can just pick another hero that is going to secure team fights because they can't defend a tower if they're dead, type of thing. But there would be another hero that would kill heroes, and that would be Ricky again. So
Oh snap!
we
We
are
got
going to
him.
see it for the second time. Okay, it is going to be Ramsey's Brew, yeah, because Arteezy I think is the only one who plays Ricky on their team, so that makes sense. This is a lineup that is going to scale pretty well on the side of EG. They're going to have a lot of damage with the Empower on Abed and the Ricky as well. It's going to be scary, actually, man. Empower Ricky,
Yeah.
oh god, like Trix does a lot of damage on its own. You add Empower on top of that, it's going to be pretty spooky stuff. But I think that Navi have done a really good job at fixing kind of the problems they had from the first game. They have heroes that can start fights. They have good damage scaling. They have, you know, that guy that buys the aura items and the Underlord. They've really hit, I think, all the markers that I would look at for a lineup that just says, okay, we can do stuff even if we're behind. And I think that's really, really important in this meta because it's very easy to get behind. You know, you lose an outpost or two, and all of a sudden the game feels incredibly hard to move around the map because outposts are just additional pressure that you have to worry about people TPing to, even though it's long, and you can lose map control very quickly. So I think that Navi, based on lineup, I would say has a better chance this game than they did game one.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to see if they can make it happen. I'm also just going to be excited every time I see Ricky. I think this hero is coming back in a big way. I'm a little curious. I'm going to check real quickly the stats on some of the other games because, as you guys might know, there are 3 other streams that are going on simultaneously right now across the other 3 groups. I just wanted to see if there were any other super standout picks, or if maybe Ricky's getting picked up in other places too, which I'll
I
check
didn't
out.
see any because I was watching the other games. I didn't see a Ricky, but that doesn't mean there wasn't one. I
Okay.
just didn't personally see one.
Well, we are going into game number 2, EG versus Navi. Let's see how they handle this new type of pressure. I mean, so we saw a radical departure from what Navi did in game number 1. What about EG? Is this more of the same from them? Like, are these picks basically you could just like mix and match and replace them to the other side?
Yeah, I think it's very similar to what they did in the first game. They have the ability to play the map. They have a blink buyer. You know, Ramses is going to be the guy going in a lot of the time. He might even go for more of a like hybrid tanky build where you just go like phase drums and stuff. I could definitely see that being something you could do this game. But all their heroes are very good at fighting. Like I would call this lineup very skirmishy. They're okay fighting like the 2v2s, the 3v3s, all that stuff. They're gonna feel fine because they just got so much. They got so much
30
beef.
seconds
It's
Right.
lyrical. They got these thick boys that are looking to get in and throw some hands.
Oh, excited. I can't wait. Get in there, Magnus. Mr. Abed. Gonna start punching people. 800 starting HP, 700 starting HP. This ET is gonna just man up on folks and try and get in the fight. Does have the spirit and already gonna start laying into that disruptor. That's kind of an interesting one too. He went for the Cinder Brew level 1, and then they throw the Astral on it afterwards. That's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
trigger is off any damage now, so you can get the extra bonus very, very quickly. This is a scary lane actually for Navi. It's not often that you see a double range lane against double melee and go, oh yeah, the double range lane might actually be able to die here.
Right.
You know, because the ET throws a spirit onto the creeps and it like drags it through them when they get the Cinderbrew on. If you get too close to Ramses one time and you get that thunderclap on you, it could just be the end.
We'll have to watch for that one closely. Down here bottom, it's also a matchup of double melee against the range in the melee. Fly gonna have to work overtime as Zizi just keeps on punching away on Pasha.
Yeah, this is how you deal with Underlord. You just bully him at low levels. He doesn't really do much until like 2 or 3. Some matchups you can get atrophy early and really stack your base damage and stuff. He's just gonna TP out. And I think at the moment, yeah, Zayak's doing some creep pulls.
Oh man, Arteezy's actually gonna try and keep this creep wave from going underneath the tower though.
He always does this. He's gonna drag it around between the tier 1 and the tier 2, and he's gonna just let his wave die. This is the Arteezy classic. I've seen him do this every game. It's really good though. Like this is what you want, right? Because essentially what you're doing here is you're denying a whole creep wave from at least one of the heroes. Like now Pasha is forced into a very like uncomfortable position to CS here. Well, now he doesn't have to worry about his lane pushing, as we're gonna see the first blood there. It's like Fly just
died.
I don't know how that happened.
What the hell?
Yeah, I don't know how that happened. I honestly, that's my bad. I feel like I distracted you.
No, you're fine.
But yeah, the top lane as well. Some
Yeah.
damage coming.
I've been liking seeing just supports coming to lane with, I mean, right now Fly has 5 mangoes in his inventory. He's ready to queue some people. This is what I do in Turbo also. You just buy like 10 mangoes and sit in the lane and just keep queuing people.
Well, it's the only way they're going to have a comfortable lane. Because as soon as the Underlord gets levels for EG, this lane's going to get a lot worse.
Yeah, already taking a lot of damage in this early going. Zayat's going to try and get a pull off, it looks like. Although Fly comes to interrupt it. And while that's going on, well, up top, it's actually the other way around as Ramsey's trying to kill off Crystallize and will be able to bring him down.
Mega worth. That's a good trade. Yeah. Support for core, we take that every time if you're EG.
So, kind of interesting little dynamic that you've got going on here. Abed is pulling the creep wave back and forth. Magical with this DD was able to force him completely out of the lane for a second. So he has another round of creeps coming through underneath his tower. And Abed, really hard to come and contest to DD Viper.
Yeah, but as we spoke about, Abed doesn't necessarily care about winning the lane. He's going to be able to cast some power on himself. He's already got his Glut of Haste. He knows his game plan is behind the tier 1.
One more punch is all that they need, and they will get him. So they get that disruptor.
This is what I was talking about, the Lyrical. This lane is scary, man. Elder Titan just running at you, a Brewmaster on top of that. And if you look at the farm disparity, right now, you know, Crystallize, he's got the 10 and 3, Brewmaster's at 14 and 5.
Right.
He's pulling ahead. And as soon as these heroes get higher level, like Brew hits 6, it's going to be really hard for Navi to stop that momentum.
Yeah, that's the same type of thing that we saw last game as well, was Ramses being the one that makes things happen early on. You can see, again, just throwing out that Spirit. It's a good bit of damage that they lay onto him there with the Cinderbrew. Very frustrating to play against.
They just don't have enough damage to really kill either of these heroes. The way that they want to play the lane is slow. You know, you get the Harass out, some Frost Arrows, a couple of multi-shots, your Thunder Strike. And you want to keep them low so they can't commit. Because if they're too high health, they're just going to run at you if they have the creep wave advantage, and you're not going to be able to kill them fast enough, and you're going to be the one that dies first. So, yeah, it's a hard lane to play for Navi. Fortunately, at least for the time being, Pasha's able to get some solo EXP under tower. This hero getting levels in EXP is going to be really important to Navi's game plan, because he's the only one that can stop pushes. He needs levels.
Early on, I've seen a couple other Is he making a move?
Yeah, he got forced to TP out. I wasn't sure. I had to check if the Disruptor had glimpse or not, but he didn't, so he's going to live.
The thing that I found kind of interesting, I was watching some of the other Underlords play. Mind Control tended to do a lot of like 4-4-1 build, and only keeping the 1 point as atrophy. Is Ramses is going to go down up in the top lane. What you're talking about there, that early aggression. And I'm not sure exactly why that was, but it felt like he was going it for every game. But this time around, Pasha is going for the 2 points into atrophy early on. So a little bit of a diversion.
So I've played a lot of Underlord actually.
Okay.
And in my experience, 2 atrophy is about as much as you ever want to put into it.
Right.
Like 1 point is solely for like the first couple of creep waves, so that you can try to Abed. Getting baited by the creep glyph here. Nice play there for Magical. Very cool. But yeah, going back to the Underlord, it's because the second point into atrophy, if you look at the scaling, it's 5 to 15%, which is, you know, you're tripling the effectiveness of it. And then after that, it just gets worse numerically as top.
He's going to get the toss back in. Another round of Cinder Brew onto everybody, but with all the supports in the area, and Ramsey's now also in some trouble. No points in Glyph, or rather on, not Glyph, Glimpse. That's the other word. But Zayat's going to try and chase down with the toss. Not going to fully commit to it as people are TPing in.
Really nice movement coming in from Na'Vi, though, helping secure their lanes. The Glyph coming out, too, for Magical, getting the kill on Abed, which was really nice. But yeah, as far as Underlord goes, not having Pit of Malice, you're not a threatening hero without that spell. That's the main thing, is top again. Where's the Tiny going? He's crazy.
Just keep running into him. Crystallize. Seeing if he can live through this one, as Crit keeps punching into all of them. The chase down is coming as the toss up into the air. Crit maybe going to be able to find, not quite there to get the last hit onto Crystallize.
I think he actually misplayed that. Like, he stopped hitting the Drow when the Drow was hitting him, which means you get vision, right? Because the hero's hitting you. I think he could have actually got that kill. Fly's going to die here mid. Gets the Viper Strike. And yeah, Na'Vi just playing everywhere right now.
Over to the side. Pasha going to try and TP away. Teasy not able to get vision on him. Was just able to juke through the trees there. But that does mean Underlord out of the lane for a little bit. He has 6, which you can come back into tier 2 on now. I guess he's going to go to the jungle for a little bit. Wait until the creep wave comes in.
Yeah, it's a little bit scary. He's got a ward, but it's not going to scout any TPs. And obviously there's no shrine there anymore, so that ward is basically just a scout out where Abed is.
Oh, and the item. He got it.
Ooh, Iron Talon, let's go.
Not normally great to get at such a late time, but I think in this situation it's okay. Yeah.
Honestly, he probably just gives it to the Drow. Because the Drow's probably going to have to leave lane soonish.
Right.
Because Ramsey's going to hit 6, and that's going to be a dead Drow if he doesn't leave.
With Ramsey's only a couple hundred XP away from that. Crit and Fly still hanging out down on this bottom side of the map. There is a wraparound coming from Magical. He's hoping to get that ward down and maybe spot any gank rotations coming towards him, because he's right now the top net worth hero in the game. All of Na'Vi feeling quite good about themselves as they get a DD, and he's going to just fly his way up towards top. There's a ward.
Yeah, they both have a ward, so both teams can see what's going on here.
Chase for Crit. Looking for it. Meanwhile, up to the side, Ramsey's really deep in there, hoping to get level 6 and is going to get it, but can't quite get his ulti off. Which does mean they lose Ramsey's again. Unfortunate going there for EG.
God, that would have been a huge play if he actually got that split off, because he probably would have killed the Drow.
Right.
Like, Drow can't run away. This hero is also very, very slow. We talked about the Viper being slow. Drow's kind of in the same boat. Oh, Zai getting kind of baited by the courier here.
They get the fear, pull back in. Frost Blast coming out onto Zayats. They get the sleep. The punch came in a little bit too late there. Now the glimpse away. Ramsey's going to be sent home, and Zayat looks to be living. Oh, man, that was unfortunate there. A little bit of a misclick as they woke him up with the right click coming from the Lich.
Dude, they have to know there's a ward there on EG. There's no way that ward should be alive right now. Especially the way that Crit was getting attacked by the Viper, because it was nighttime, right? And he was hitting him from like max range around the pillar. I'm surprised that ward didn't just immediately die.
Zayat runs into him. They break the smoke, as they did see that by the ward placed down by Magical, but they're going to chase forward now with the Ricky. Weren't expecting that rotation, and Magical just going to get eaten up by the 4-man rotation. Now they get to lift up on the Tiny with the Wind Panda. Zayat trying to escape a second time now as they toss away the Magnus. Do get that Hurl Boulder, and with everybody showing up, they finally find that kill. So EG striking back with the level 6s.
Yeah, it was a nice movement. Viper's a big kill. Because you don't really skill the Nether Toxin that early anymore, you can like value point it or whatever if you want to try to push the wave, but he doesn't jungle nearly as fast as he used to, so what a lot of people do now is what you're seeing him do, which is go for the Maelstrom. Pasha getting interrupted there on the outpost cap.
Yeah, that's so frustrating. And even if you lose your life here on Ramses, I think you're okay with that.
Wait,
you
they
just
got
had a
both
bunch
of
of
them.
experience. Yeah, that was sick.
Oh, they got top and bottom, man. That hurts Navi a lot, actually. It's a fair amount of EXP that they are going to lose out on.
They do manage to take down the courier there. Zayat chasing Abed tosses him over to the Ancients. He gets rooted before he's able to skewer away. And it's going to be the end of that.
I mean, Navi are still leading in terms of like overall net worth and stuff, but we haven't really seen the core items come out in EG yet either. Like, we still are lacking the Diffusal Blade on the Ricky. Once that comes out, you know, the Disruptor. I mean, I don't want to be Disruptor in this game, I'll say that much.
Yeah.
It's going to be really rough for him during the mid game. He's going to have to be on top of his vision game. Sentries need to be down all the time. He is prepared, though. He's got everything he needs already in his inventory, and that's a good sign.
Well, level 6 is there for both supports. Just means another point up into Avalanche for Zayat. And eventually going to be trying to get into that Blink Dagger, I would imagine. I've seen some Tinies go for like an urn-oriented build into Spirit Vessel, but I think they need that initiation in this game.
Vessel's actually not bad either, though. Like, I agree that Blink is a good choice, just because they want some hero that can jump.
Right.
They're going to find Ramses here. No split yet. 5 seconds.
Hard for them to get this kill. Drop it down. Never mind. Very easy if they just drop the stack storm.
Yeah, it's always worth it, I feel, to kill any core, like a 1, a 2, or a 3. A lot of people have this whole, like, oh, I just want to hold my ultimate so I can get a better one. But the reality is, if the Panda's off the map for like 25 seconds and he has to TP back to lane somewhere, that's a lot of pressure that you're relieving from the other cores. And you don't have to worry about, like, Crystallize, getting split used on him until he's alive, and all that kind of stuff. So it's always worth it.
Crit taking a bit of a beating. They toss his corpse up into the air. I was able to seal away a DD rune. As it looks like EG want to get active with another brew split. Level 7 now with the maxed out Cinder Brew. Fly also having his level 6. And we get a couple more items coming out now. Ocean Heart, Faded Brooch. Anything else on these guys? Looks like that's going to be the last of them.
Yeah, the brooch is one of my favorite items.
Yeah.
Movement, speed, and mana. As a mid player, you don't want anything else. You just want to be able to use your spells, and you want to be fast, because you want to kill like the mid wave, rotate to the jungle, kill the mid wave, rotate to the jungle. Very standard mid stuff. So I bet it's going to be pretty happy with that one, at least for now.
I will say the looming terror of the Arteezy Ricky starting to scare me. Has the Empower, has just been working away at beating up creeps. Almost has Diffusal Blade done. Highest net worth in the game. And against Drow, too. Like, you were talking about Disruptor, but even in the team fights, if he finds Crystallize, I feel like he could just eat him up.
Yeah, it's going to be scary, for sure. But this is why earlier I was talking a lot about, you know, Pasha. Because a max level Pit of Malice into an Atos is going to crush this Ricky. Like, you blink in onto whatever hero you want, and then you get Pit, and then you get hit by an Atos, and you get hit by Pit again. And none of Ricky's skills besides Cloud can be used while you're rooted. So you can't Tricks, you can't Blink Strike away. That is like the X factor, I think, for Navi here, is this Underlord into the Ricky. And they may have even been anticipating it.
Yeah.
Because they picked it before the Ricky was out on EG, because that was their last pick. So I'm really curious to see how Pasha plays this, because I think that he has the potential with his hero to really shut down this Ricky during the mid game.
Well, they've got the armor onto Ramses, throw out that maxed out Cinder Brew, and then just beat them all to death. Zayat gets the toss away, but one more punch comes in from Fly, and well, he manages to get on the board there. 1-2-2 score so far. We did talk a lot about the warding last game. It feels like from EG so far, it's been a lot more on the defensive side, trying to protect certain areas of the
Dire's
jungle.
middle tower is
And I
under
guess you could
attack.
say somewhat of the same thing for Navi. There haven't been that many moves invading the other side of the map yet.
Well, EG, they have a Mag, and Mag really wants to hit creeps. He needs his 2 items. In this case, it's going to be the Echo and the Blink Dagger. This is pretty standard since they nerfed the Aghanims a bit. And then once they have that, and that Diffusal Blade as well, which Ricky now does have, as Navi are going to smoke up here. They're looking for a movement. They are walking
Radiant's middle
more or
tower
less
is under
blind. We'll
attack.
see. They have another Obs to place.
Oh, they did have one on the Lich, but they find the Elder Titan who's going to be interrupted. They throw out the Chain Frost, doing a lot of damage there onto one, and Ricky able to find a return kill onto the Tiny before they get out of there. Pasha still chasing. They have the Pit of Malice up soon. They get the pullback there onto Ricky immediately now into the Static Storm, and the Pit of Malice down. RP, is it going to be good enough? Doesn't look like it, as they already have lost their Ricky and now trying to Pasha his way out of there with the ulti, trying to lay the damage into him. They get the finish as they manage to escape. So EG lose 3 in exchange for the 2 supports.
I'm actually kind of surprised he canceled that. Like, Magical was right behind him,
Yeah.
and the split was going to be wearing off. I feel like they, he might have died there, but they wipe EG, I think, if he cancels that ulti. I don't know, it's a judgment call. It's kind of close either way, and maybe you don't value the Brewmaster kill as highly as getting out there.
Right.
But yeah, nicely done by Pasha. We saw the effect of the Pit of Malice into Atos. Like, crit just could not go anywhere. We're going to see it again here.
You're hanging out for a very long time in this area. Atos Underlord, eat your heart out.
Yeah, it's incredibly good. Like, this is a type of hero, and like I said, I've played him a lot, and his Abed's going to get glimpsed back to base. And Zayat's going to be murdered by the Ricky Maru. But Underlord is... He can be a lot of things. He can be the Aura Carrier, he can be the Initiator, he can be the hero that just CCs you for an hour, which is the Atos build.
Right.
And a lot of people kind of underestimate
Radiant's middle tower
just how
is under
quickly he
attack.
can also transition into a core.
Radiant
Because as soon as you hit
structures are
15,
fortified.
you get that atrophy permanent damage.
Mm.
Every time a kill happens, you don't even have to get the kill. Just anytime anyone dies and a 1200 AoE around your hero, you get 12 permanent damage.
It's pretty nifty.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. This hero just transitions into something that hits harder than a core if the game is going well for you. And right now, Navi are feeling pretty comfy with their lead and the map control that they currently have.
I will say my
Radiant's
low-key
middle tower
favorite
is
item
under
that I
attack.
love seeing on this hero is Aghanims whenever I get a chance to see it. Doubt it's going to happen this game, but that's the other way where you suddenly turn all of the rest of your team into that indomitable monster, just got a billion freaking damage and end the game. And nowadays as well, I guess if you get an Aghanims drop off in the Roche, could be a decent play to pick it up further on down the line. And man, Arteezy sticking with the memes, going for that Battle Fury build again after the Diffusal Blade.
You know, I don't think it's really a meme because first off, Ricky gets the old attack speed and the damage talent, and the
Right.
Battle Fury is something that actually, if you think about it, it makes sense. Because
Okay.
what happens in the mid game is that teams have a tendency to be together a lot of the time. And if they're together, Ricky doesn't want to fight you. Ricky wants picks. He wants to sit in side lanes like he's doing right now and be annoying and, be invisible and all that stuff.
Mhm.
And if your team comes to fight with you, then that's fine, as EGR currently smoked up. But because you're so bad at 5-man, you build an item to farm into your next item during the time in the game where the enemy team is going to have a bigger chance of being a clump of heroes. Because
Okay.
you want to avoid that clump, because it's very likely that they're going to have sentries, and it's very likely that they're going to have dust. So you basically farm through the enemy team's power spike to a point in the game where you're strong enough to walk into that clump. And that's what the Battle Fury is for.
And I guess that's what the rest of your team is for as well, is to make sure that
Right.
during that timing you don't just lose the game.
Yeah.
Which I feel like
Dire's
we've
bottom
seen
tower is
occasionally
under
for
attack.
some of these heroes in some of these games, especially, going back to game number 1. That's what we saw. EG kept on getting pushed back against the wall. The TA was looking huge, and then suddenly she wasn't. And Ricky showed up with a billion items.
Dire's top tower
Yeah,
under
this
attack.
is Ricky 101 here. For anyone trying to learn safe lane Ricky, as soon as you get a Diffusal Blade, you do have kill potential, which is important because it means you apply map pressure. but you can't get like overconfident and think that just because you have this one item, you are a god. That's not really how it works, especially against these types of heroes like the Disruptor, the Pit of Malice you were talking about from Pasha, the Atos. You're still very easy to kill, as we might see up here.
Ooh, gets in range for that glimpse and pulls him back in. Wanted to escape, but to no avail.
It was a nice try, though. I don't know if you caught it, but he like blink struck at like the same frame that he got glimpsed to try to get out. But it's hard to time that, let's be honest. Very hard.
Yeah. Tough stuff. 20 minutes coming up right now. Each team have an outpost apiece. And looks like EG may be gonna... they can't sneak one away, but they will be able to get bounty runs at the very least.
Radiant's middle tower.
Yeah, Navi looking solid, though.
Yeah.
All their items are coming online. The Underlord's going to have his Force Staff now, so he'll be able to get his cores out of an RP, or get himself out of danger if he needs to. It's going to be a haste bottom as well. And I mean, EG aren't out of the game because they have Mag, and I never really count that hero out because one RP can kind of turn things, but it is kind of tough to get a good RP against these style of heroes, just because of the way that the fights play out. Like, you're not going to see a lot of heroes clumping up on the side of Navi unless they walk up like a hill or something into a shrine. You're just not. It's not going to happen.
That's definitely been much more of what you were talking about earlier, those kind of skirmishy type of battles.
Yeah.
They've been looking for. Well, now another smoke up coming from Navi. Going to be the Blink Dagger on the Tiny, ready to jump in, but kind of hard to initiate onto Ramses. Although maybe if they can burst him right at the start with the Static Storm down, Silence is there. Xayah throws him into the Static Storm, in fact, and they just destroy the Riki. This Chain Frost is bouncing a little bit, but it's not really doing all that much at all. And Pasha chasing forward. They have the glimpse back on to Fly, taking down the captain. Navi making the moves.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about too. Arteezy showed up to the 5-man. You don't want to do that. Like, you can't do that against these heroes, especially when your Brewmaster just insta-dies. As soon as he walks up that hill, if he doesn't have a way, like he needs a BKB this game on the Brew, like just flat out. If you get hit by the Static Storm, he was rooted in that storm the entire time. Kinetic Field wasn't even necessary. He just couldn't move.
Yeah.
And then he got gusted immediately after and could never even cast his ultimate. So.
Well,
very nicely played.
That's why the Helm of the Dominator build was so interesting to me. I was trying to figure out like what the goal was with it. I mean, obviously it helps him like farm a little bit faster. It's a nice team fight oriented item and all that stuff. But as you mentioned, Disruptor, it's a hell of a hero, and looking like he could be in trouble yet again. The long duration Silence and Ramses is just eating dirt.
Yeah, it's a hard Brew game from here on out. If you're not playing from ahead on this hero against Disruptor, Gus, Silence, Pit of Malice, and all the other stuff, it doesn't matter how tanky you are, because you'll just never have control of your hero.
Right.
Why is not really sure what that one was about. But yeah, it's looking rough at the moment. They're gonna lose Arteezy too.
Jesus. Moving back in, wants to take down Magical, but another round of Static Storm. Guess what? It's back up again. And no way out of that one. I mean, that's the thing, right? As you talked about it, and we saw last game so well, the Riki being used on the other side of the map while the rest of the heroes were doing stuff. And I think that Io helped to facilitate that draft a lot as well, being able to come in when they needed him. But now it's just feeling like they don't really have an answer to this group up from Na'Vi.
Yeah, I mean, that movement... So there's this whole logic behind how you split push, where if the enemy team is allowed to walk to an area to kill someone, you can't split a tier 1, right? Because it means they still have TPs.
Okay.
And that's kind of what we just saw there. So that's why a lot of the time, if you see like a mid player rotate or you see a 4-player rotate, they'll try not to TP unless they're forced to, because that way you always have a reactionary TP for something else that's happening, at a tier 1 or wherever else on the map. And that's basically what we saw Na'Vi do there. They walked to that location, they get their wards down, they get their pick, and then they have heroes available to TP to get the other kill on top of that. It's like a 1-2 punch, right? But if you just TP to where you want the gank, then there's no other play after that. As soon as the TP is done, that's all you can do. And then any other movement after that is going to take a really long time. So Arteezy kind of just, I don't know if they're kind of feeling the pressure or whatever, but it's just like it's a misplay to be there for that long.
Yeah. Well, and particularly against the disruptor too. That to me is one of those heroes that really makes it that much more difficult. That like that even the normal amount of like pressure that you get on the split push, it's that much harder to make that happen. So right now, another smoke from EG. It looks like they want to try and defend this tier 2 tower, which I feel like I've seen a lot of team wipes around this area whenever a defense is mounted. They have the blink dagger on Mag. No group up at all. Na'Vi perfectly in position to defend. They get the skewer back onto one, onto Zayat. Has the avalanche afterwards. Going to be pulled back in with the fear. They focus down now one, seeing if they can kill off that Brewmaster. On the backline, though, they kill off Ortizi. He goes down again. They buy back on the Tiny, ready to jump into this fight if they need to. They have the Underlord ulti out after they force the Brew split, and easy as pie. Na'Vi, get out of there. A little bit weird on the buyback from the Tiny, I gotta say.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that one actually was for. I guess he had his TP, so maybe he thought he could make it in time. Like, okay, so if EG pursue and Navi stick around, there is a chance he can make it back because he does have blink. So in that sense, I kind of get it. Fortunately, Pasha has level 18, so the level 3 Dark Rift very fast, only 4 seconds. As opposed to like the 6 that it is at level 1. It seems like way longer than that, by the way, if you play the hero. You're like, please God, just go off. Please God, I don't want to die.
Yeah. I definitely feel that as well. But, and again, like, now at this stage, you're waiting for Brewmaster to be back up in 70 seconds, and Na'Vi can just keep this pressure on.
I mean, honestly, it's on them to make a mistake. I think if everything remains the same and Navi keep playing how they play, that EG are going to have a very hard time bringing this back. Just because the nature of the way the fights go, right? Like, your Mag wants this RP, but the Navi lineup isn't really going to clump up. They got triple ranged heroes. Their positioning has been very good throughout the game. And then you have this really beefy frontliner that you really don't want to use spells on. They're going to go for the solo RP here.
All right, they get the stomp afterwards. Not bad. Magical is going to drop. They already have the Pit of Malice down. Now the Avalanche Toss, kill off the ET. So the exchange there, not bad, as they managed to get the kill on the Viper. Did use RP for that.
Oh, I like this ward. This ward bottom is going to kill the Riki if he stays.
Well, they've got an idea of where he's at. The Aegis does now expire. Dust catching on to him. Ortiz like, get me out of here. Oh, they know, though. They have an idea. They got an inkling. Can they spot him? Possibly. Not quite in range. Oh.
The pike. He tried to pike him to break the trees, but Zayat turned, so when he got piked, he didn't go the right way. If he just kept facing the jungle, they would have spotted him and killed him. I mean, you can't know, right? Because he's in the trees, but...
Of course. All right, so space created right there. Did see a Paladin Sword picked up for the Drow now. One of the nicer ones, gotta say.
Yeah, that item is actually broken, by the way.
Okay. Good
Not even trolling, it's broken. Because it gives you lifesteal, and it also gives you lifesteal amp.
Right.
So if you have like an SNY and a Paladin Sword or whatever, or a Paladin Sword and a Satanic, you can heal for like hundreds per hit. It is ridiculous. It's one of the best neutral items. For a core, at least.
Yeah. Not as good on a CM or something like that.
I mean, hey, you get that attack speed talent, maybe, you know?
Let's go. Get in there. Just plinking away. Little mosquito. I like the Underlord build here, too, going for that Halberd. Nice little answer. The Essence Ring, I feel like, obviously there's been a lot talked about it on IO, but I think it's really good on a hero like Underlord, too. You know, if you're about to get bursted through when you're trying to rift out of there, not bad.
I'm going to be honest. I think it's probably one of the best neutral items in general. Because there's not a hero in the game that doesn't want mana regen and health. Like,
yeah.
Any hero is going to be happy to have that in their inventory. That's how I feel about it,
So possibly just going to wait for the next round of Roche. It's a minute away from possible to spawn.
So I didn't mean to interrupt. They put a gem on the Underlord now, so he's gonna be even more annoying. And he's gone for the 70 attack speed talent. We talked earlier about the 7 permanent atrophy damage, and he's got 88 permanent damage.
Oh my god. What a monster.
Yeah. This is the thing, though. This is what makes Underlord so scary. And it's important to note that this Underlord was picked as a 4th pick for their team. I can't remember if that was, what it would have been, like 20th pick or something like that. Because 20 seconds last pick. So it was picked really late in the draft, is what I'm alluding to here. And Underlord to me is a hero that a lot of people make the mistake of just like first phasing.
Okay.
And this hero, first off, needs a lane, and he needs to be playing from ahead. If those two things don't happen, don't pick it, because it's just going to feed. It's a very slow hero, and what ends up happening is you farm your own jungle, which is like the worst thing to do. You never want to farm your own jungle, but when you're behind, you don't really have a choice, right?
Yeah.
But if you're able to do what he's doing, which is play the map, push the lanes, force the enemy team to cast spells on you, and also just have all these utility items for your team to keep them alive from the enemy team's cores, then you're just a god. So you could definitely take a note from Navi here, any aspiring, Underlord players. If you're going to pick the hero, pick it late. Don't pick it early.
Avalanche toss, not going to be there, but they do have the glimpse back, and now the silence out, but didn't quite connect onto Ramses there, as they are already eaten through that ET. Ramses has already lost his Wind Panda, Fire Panda, and Earth Panda, still alive as they back out. But with the Brew Split used and ET gone, I feel like you're losing a lot of value there on Navi. Roche, relatively long respawn, but they get the pullback now. Under the big tanky guy himself, can they blow him up in time? Underlord going to drop, and that's the gem. Abed just going to TP out now.
Nice.
Huge.
Nice. Really good awareness from Abed there, realizing that he could go for that. That's the second pick that they get in a row, which is using the RP. And it's important. Like, the Underlord being dead is a big deal for Navi, because now they don't have this frontliner that's going to stop the Riki from just killing their supports. And it also means that Arteezy can kind of more freely play the map because the gem is dead. Well, not dead, but, they have it now themselves.
Right.
But this is one of the downfalls of going for, like, the Atos Force into Heaven's Halberd, is that since you're playing against Elder Titan, you have 4 armor, effectively. And 4 armor is not a lot. So even if you have a large health pool, if you don't have, like, a plate mail item or something else that's giving you, like, bonus armor, you're kind of butter if you're just able to be hit by 5 heroes.
Yeah.
So without his team behind him, I mean, that's basically what happens.
That's a tough one. And going to need to go for some more tank ability here. He already has that plate mail in his inventory now with the Lotus Orb build towards it. EG trying to collapse onto Zayats here with 4 heroes. They're going to spot him. No, he hides off in the trees. And they didn't quite have an angle to break it down there. So instead, it's move over, take the outpost, and see what happens next.
Arteezy's getting kind of close to his Aghanims. Aghanims in level 25 is when Riki becomes, like, the super scary hero. Because Aghanims increases the cast range of your tricks to 1,000. You can basically use it as a blink, and then you have a 5-second cooldown tricks at level 25. We'll see if he gets there, those.
Oh, yeah, they got him. That was unfortunate. So the scan pinged red, and it stayed red for a while, and then that was just them passing through the area. So Ramses thought that he was safe, but very quickly realized that was not the case. And that's going to be Roche respawning right as they take down the Brew.
Middle tower is under attack.
I mean, he does have buyout, and they do have split. We'll see how much EG want to try to invest into stopping this. I think it's quite hard, to be honest. Like, their heroes aren't even in position to do it. This is just Navi's Aegis.
Yeah.
It's going to be Cheese as well. Curious if they give it to Pasha or if they give it to the Viper. Looks like it's going to go to the Viper. Okay. But yeah, this is still Navi's time. They have a pretty significant lead. They have the Aegis. They still have to be wary of the RP. Abed, in my opinion, has been playing this very well, like not being afraid to RP the single heroes to make sure that they can stay out on the map. It's one of the most important parts when you're behind, is having a way to get picks, because those picks keep you from getting sieged. And the more you can do that, the more time you get. And right now, Arteezy needs time. He needs his next item. Ideally, he gets 25. He'll have his Blink Strike cast range pretty soon, which is a really, really nice talent for him. Almost doubles the cast range of the ability. But yeah, EG are still under the gun here. They need a lot to happen in order for them to make a comeback here.
We'll see if they can make it happen. As Navi ready to run down another lane. And stealing that outpost away while they do it. EG up on the high ground. It's really hard to fight into this. I mean, the E-Blade feels like it's going to be good for ET when he can get towards it, but you can see that Arteezy just heading off on the other side of the map, wants to farm up, get that Aghanim Scepter done, and then maybe They're going to be in a position where they can take a fight. Are they going to go for it now? Getting ready to jump inside somebody. Abed could be there for the blink initiation. Has the Bloodthorn done? But right now, it's only Crystallized that's showing. Asha behind him now. Still off in the trees as the Disruptor. They're not going to be able to find that one catch with the Stomp. They lose the Helm of the Dominator creep. Walking up to high ground, seeing if they can find an opening. They have a ward. They get the vision. Throwing out the tree to try and spot something. Crystallized is already there. He's able to get the split off. Pull back onto one. It's not good enough as of yet from EG. Crystallized is kind of out of position here, and we'll see if Arteezy can blow him up. Trying to take him down, but the silence is already out. Gonna get the jump inside of Crit, but now Tricks the Trade not really doing that much damage. Crystallized able to get the Gust pushback, trying to kill him off, but Arteezy, it's not doing nearly enough damage. Abed pulls back in one. They get 2 killed off. This is kind of looking okay, but they don't have the Ricky for the rest of this fight. Magical is going to be slept, but Crystallized now going to lay into Ramsey. Zayat stuck up on the hill, but is going to get the toss back in, and they burn through the Aegis, but they lose 2 cores for 70 seconds.
I mean, honestly, that was about as good as you could have asked for if you're EG. He's even going to force some heroes to rotate. Abed was in the mid lane trying to do some creep cutting. If they kill this wave, this draw was kind of alone for the time being.
Silenced?
Yo, you can't keep chasing this. Okay. He might have overextended a bit.
Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate there. They also find Fly, toss up, trying to keep Abed alive, but it is not going to be enough. 11,000 net worth lead now for Na'Vi as Fly. Ooh, a very lucky miss there, but oh no, Snipe finds him and claims his prize. 36 minutes in, they're going to break high ground, and Na'Vi came to play in game number 2. They're looking good.
That was such a big misplay there from EG. All they had to do was kill the creep wave. Like, they didn't have to... I mean, sure, it's really nice, the idea going for the drow kill, but there's no way you had time to get that kill. Like, they were in the mid lane, you TP'd away from them. Like, Abed TP'd away from them himself. He knew where they were, and he still tried to chase. It's kind of weird. Crit, though, creating some space.
I was kind of curious that they didn't just go to take down the tower, but I guess with the buyback, they're a little too concerned about getting out of there.
Well, they got the racks that they came for. There's a tier 2 mid. It's pretty unlikely that they would have been able to get the second set of racks. But yeah, Crit played that very well. Still just kind of chilling, walking around. Did they see each other? I don't know if he saw. Oh, he did see Pasha, of course. They held that outpost. Of course they saw. Yeah, nicely done there from Crit. That's what I thought that Abed was going to do when he TP'd top. I thought he was just going to kill the wave because it was right in front of his base, and it would have, put the back door almost, would have triggered it soon.
Right.
And then they might not have been able to just push that high ground, but he just went freaking red eyes and just chased the drow.
It's like, I will take you down.
Yeah.
Feel my pain. It's looking quite good for Na'Vi in this game number 2. And I think a lot of what set this up is just that opening, the change of pace of Disruptor Tiny and being able to do so much more on the map, as opposed to what they had last time, which was what, Warlock. Who's the other hero that they had? Somebody else that just did nothing.
It was Rubik.
Yeah, Warlock Rubik.
Rubik Warlock, yeah. Okay, if I'm going to be honest with you, like real talk for a second, if I see that support combo in my pubs, I am already asleep at my keyboard. I'm just like, I'm ready for the next game. I don't like playing with heroes that can't play the game. Yeah. Like that's my one of my biggest pet peeves is 2 supports that can't make plays.
Oh no. Crit, run away. Get out of there. They get the Yule Scepter lift up. And the Sad Pit has caught him as he is going to be pummeled and killed, trying to make whatever space they possibly can. But now they catch another Ramses. They force the BKB on him, but he does not go down. Static Storm was also used there. He's have to be careful.
Getting out.
Yeah, they have another glimpse. Okay. Maybe looking for a pick-off with Arteezy nearby.
I don't know really what comes of this. I can't see this ending well for EG.
This does not look good at all. They toss him back in. Oh no, not again. The man goes down. No chance to cast a spell. No BKB on the Ricky. And Fly is afterwards going to be pummeled. And it's getting to the point where we might see those 2 magical words pretty quickly as the Glimpse pulls back the Brewmaster. They're going to beat into the big beefy boy and kill him off as well. Another one bites the dust. as they're going to force out another buyback here. And
Well,
just
I bet
going
it's got
for
a
it.
DD. Here comes the 5-man RP. Get ready, Lyrical. It's going to happen.
Let's see if they can do it. They're trying. Natus, Pasha, tempting fate, daring anybody to go on me. But it's not going to happen.
This game, it wasn't really that it got out of hand super quickly. It was more just that Na'Vi were slowly getting further and further ahead like the entire game.
Yeah.
And I think the Underlord pick did absolute work this time around. Like, Pasha played a great game. I think his itemization was perfect. His Atos straight up killed the EG like 5 times.
Oh, another round of it. The 2-person Pit of Malice tossed back in. Another round, why don't you? Although they get the BKB out from Abed, trying to escape. Arteezy jumps back in. No, he jumped in and got rooted. Oh, in some trouble. Tries to jump away again. He's playing topsy-turvy. His magical got a little bit juked there. They have another round of Avalanche lift-up toss. And there's a lot of running, but not a lot of right-clicking coming in. As Na'Vi have gotten everything that they could have wanted. They're going to push in for this tier 2 mid and to try and finish this game off.
Yeah, this is, let's say it's not looking great for EG.
Look at how much damage Pasha has. This guy's a monster.
Yeah. This is what it feels like to play a late pick Underlord. It's very, very satisfying, you know? Because all you really have to do is exist. You cast your pit or whatever on the core heroes, you use your Atos, maybe Lotus something. It's not really like super high skill gameplay, but man, is it super effective.
Radiant's middle tower has
Not a whole lot to stop it at this point. They just drop down the pit on top of them. And even though the Ricky's not in the game, he's certainly not going to be able to blink strike onto that one. So tier 3 tower looking to fall in this bottom lane. EG waiting on a hope and a prayer, but 50 seconds without Arteezy means even if they find that perfect RP as the pick gets laid down, no chance for a skewer away. They do skewer in, instead RP only onto one, and then he gets 4 staff to try and keep him alive. They will bring down that disruptor, but it's the most Pyrrhic of victories as Na'Vi are just dismantling this Evil Geniuses team that were so dominant in game number 1, but they came up with the answers via Coach Mag, a little bit of talk amongst themselves, and they're going to be going into game number 3 here in this first best of 3 Group D.
Yeah, it was a really nice draft from Na'Vi. We spoke about it at the pick screen. I was much happier with the heroes they picked this time around in the first game. And if they can play like this, why don't they just do it every game? Just pick the heroes that push buttons and they own. Like that's what happened this game. They picked some heroes that could cast spells and get kills, and they crushed it. It was a very impressive performance. Their movement was good. The double play where they like picked off top, TP'd mid, killed Arteezy, stuff like that. Like there's so many things that you just can't do if you don't have this like roaming tiny and disruptor stuff. So I'm a really big fan of what Na'Vi did this game. And for EG, I don't think it was a draft loss or anything like that, but I do find it a bit odd that Ramsey's opted to go for the Dominator. Like it's nice for map pressure and stuff. You get the creep, you can run at heroes, you know, whatever. But if you look at Navi's lineup, what makes you think that as a melee hero, you're going to get to walk anywhere?
Yeah, it's true.
Like it's a Viper, Pit of Malice, Kinetic Field, Gust, Slows, Stun and a Toss. How are you going to walk into a fight? Like how are you ever just going to casually walk up and say 3 of me without being murdered? That's all I'm going to say.
It's a rough one, definitely. Very good draft from Na'Vi, and it felt like as you mentioned, itemization certainly didn't help. But we'll see what happens. Game number 3 right around the corner. It feels like game 1, EG just kind of bullied them and mashed them back and beat that ass a little bit. And then game number 2, Na'Vi came up with some sick answers. So we'll see if game number 3 will bring us something else. Stick around, everybody. More to come here from the Dream League Season 13 Major. We'll be back in a bit.